Good morning. It's early. I'm barely awake, but I'm awake and you're awake, so let's do chakra talk. I've got things just busting out of me to be said, so we'll just get going this morning. I'm Piper. I run a group called Chakra Talk, obviously, here on Facebook. Chakra Talk Live is this thing I do to get on here and chat with folks and answer questions, although nobody ever has any questions. So I just talk, and people have comments sometimes, and sometimes they have a random thing they'll say to me privately. I'm kind of stalling here, waiting on folks to join me a little bit. Good morning, Sarah. It takes us a few minutes to get going here. Since I don't do this at a particular time, folks aren't just lined up waiting. Anyway, I want to talk to you today about something that's massively important to every single one of you out there, and I don't even have to guess at that or assume. I absolutely know it. Everyone walking around on this planet wants to figure out how to be happy, how to be peaceful, how to be joyful. Everyone wants that. Everyone is striving for that. We go about it a million different ways, and some people achieve it and some people do not. So that must mean that some ways are effective and some ways are not. Good morning, my Bonnie. Welcome home, world traveler. So this morning I want to talk to you about willpower. And I want to talk to you about what that actually means in the old documents. Documents that say things like the will of God, or doing something by will only. Okay, we're going to get a little bit into the Sanskrit this morning, and I've done all the work on it. I've got it all pulled together so I can just read you some little blurbs out of it. If none of you have ever delved into the Sanskrit dictionary, it is amazing. Sanskrit's kind of the first language that was written down that people could share among different people, different tribal things, and so information began to be able to be passed around. And they are incredibly specific when they say something. They have a word, and it means exactly what it means. And then, but I'll give you some examples in a moment. In the English language, we're quite the opposite. We're very lazy, and our rules. Okay, darling. And you made me lose my thought. Okay. When speaking in a regular language like our English, or even, the bigger languages, Mandarin is, I think, the largest language in the world. Hindi is one of the largest in the world. They actually make rules and follow them in their languages, not like English. But if you take what was written in Sanskrit or Hindi, and they use a word, will, and then we apply our English word will to that, do we really have any idea what their message was? The ascended masters I work with are all very adamant that their messages have been distorted. They've been adulterated. That is not what they intended, not what they meant to say. What they did say is not what got written down. Okay, this is the reason. Sanskrit is a very, very, very old language, and it was common in the world in that time. So they had a common understanding of some things they were talking about. We don't have that anymore. Let me give you an example why. One of the things that I was absolutely blown away by, and I do have notes today, so you don't have to watch me digging for things. The word will in Sanskrit, which we are going to talk about today, willpower, willingness, will. 344 words they use to describe will, not to describe different types, about will. They have 344 words required for them to express what we try to express as will. You see, our language greatly inhibits us actually understanding the ancient texts and the ancient messages and knowing what they meant. We take what they wrote or what was written about them usually, and we apply 21st century language to it, and it just breaks down. It just doesn't mean the same thing. Okay? I'm going to give you a couple of examples of will in the way it is used in the old documents. The word for it, one of the words for will is called manas, Manas, and I don't even claim to be able to speak Sanskrit, so I pronounce them in the in the white girl way. So manas, Manas. This is their definition of will. Listen carefully to this. The mind, all aspects of the mind, including intellect, intelligence, understanding, perception, sense, conscious. That doesn't sound like the way we use the word will, does it? Okay? This is incredibly important. Try to stay with me. We're going to look at another word that they describe as manas. Okay? We're going to a completely different word than will, but we're going to find their same word. Mana, Manasa, Lord of thoughts, the soul. Are you following me? We just jumped from will to soul with the same word in Sanskrit. We're not done yet. The other word in Sanskrit, manas, same spelling, Manas. I have looked and looked and looked and looked and redirected 100 ways to try to make sure I've got this correct, because Sanskrit is a difficult language. Manas, the spirit or spiritual principle, the breath of life, the living soul, the soul which escapes the body at death. Now, wrap your mind around that for a minute. Will, the soul that escapes the body at death. The mind and every aspect of the mind. Do you see the importance here? The will is non-physical and is a portion of the big energy. Our will, our tiny little Piper will, contains all the energy of the entire universe at our disposal. Will. People have been asking me, Joe's been asking me, and he's my driller. He drills me down on this stuff to make sure I'm not flittering off and missing a point. And particularly when I get into digging through the Sanskrit and we bounce it back and forth, back and forth. Is this what this means? Okay. I'm particularly bound to determined to make sure that everything I tell you has been verified in Sanskrit, because I work with Prince Gautama, and he says, if it is not in Sanskrit, it is adulterated. It is not what was intended. So we work with it all the time. I have spent hours and hours and hours, literally dozens of hours, reading the Sanskrit dictionary. I still can't speak a word of it because my mouth don't work that way. But I understand the complexity and the detail with which they spoke and with what their intentions held. I'll tell you another one, and this is off our topic today, but it's very similar, and it's going to make a huge point with you. We say to each other all the time, I say to you people looking right here this morning, I often say, I love you. I say to Joe, I love you. I say to Kookie, I love you. And of course, you all know, I love coffee. What the fuck is that about? How can that one word mean all those things? Well, see, that's the English language and laziness again. In Sanskrit, they have 1,228 different words for love. And each one of them has an exact definition. They have a word for I love Kookie, and they have a word for I love coffee, and they have a very different word for I love Joe. You see, how can we possibly expect to communicate with each other when you really start breaking it down? I don't even know half the time what I'm saying myself. You say, well, I love you. Which one of those 1,300 words are we discussing? You see, words are extremely limiting, and that is why I am extremely precise in using only certain words to describe certain things. And a lot of the words I use have been, I don't know, what shall we call it, cartoonish, turned into on Google God. Chakra is one of the words that is known all over the world, and I don't know if 1% of the people actually know what it is. It has nothing to do with unicorns and rainbows, and I mean the rainbows are there, but they're energetic. This is deep science. This is not bullshit. Okay. So let's talk about will. I have had so many people, I would say almost all people who come to me for spiritual counseling are looking to be happier. I don't feel good this way. I want to feel some other way. Okay. Whether that's sadness, loneliness, confusion, apathy, stuckness, depression, any of those things that don't feel good, wandering around in one of these, the seeking answer to that is always the same. I want to feel happier. Isn't it interesting that one thing, happier, is the solution to so many problems? There's a reason for that, an energetic reason, of course, chakras. Okay, I want to talk to you this very specifically about the word will and the way we use it in Sanskrit, meaning the non-physical absolute power of the universe that we contain within us. I have told you in my own books that the will is contained and illuminated and ignited in the orange chakra. That is the first chakra that is completely human. It is completely yours. It does not attach to any other human, and it does not receive input from source. It receives only input up through your root and down from your top. It does not have an access to this non-physical energy. Isn't that interesting? This non-physical thing called will that drives a lot of our forward motion, or we claim to. I'm doing this by willpower. We'll get to what that means in a little bit. Located in the only two chakras that have no physical, no energetic connection to the non-physical, and there in those two chakras in the human body resides will, the soul, the non-physical part of us still. So you see, I've had this misunderstood for 5 years. It's not that the yellow and orange chakra do not receive source energy. It's that they receive it from within themselves. They don't have an outward channel. It comes up and down and blossoms within them. Okay? The way to become inside a sphere is to be born into the sphere, you see. Okay. So I want to talk about this will. I have told you, and in my books and in my chakra work, I work with people and I say your will, you have to get that will moving up. Will moving up is the energy to push, is the power to push that energy up and get yourself out of those lower vibrations and get out of depression and all that. Okay. Will, the push, the force, okay, coming up, that would also be the exact thing that Prince Gautama and I have worked out as the other word for it in Sanskrit. The other word he uses, suffering, striving. Life is suffering. Life is striving. Life is the ignition of that will. Do you see? It is the ignition of that fire of the non-physical within each and every one of us as a human being. That's your willpower. Now you have some tiny idea of what a powerful source I'm talking about. This is God being born in your belly, and you having access to that power to do anything you want. Anything. Okay? Now, the question becomes, are you willing to have what you think you want? This struck me like a lightning bolt about 2 days ago. For about a year's time now, Joe and I have had a not meaning we say it over and over, but meaning it comes up frequently. We say it together. We say it at the same time. This is perfectly satisfactory. I love this life right here, right now, but I'm perfectly willing to be shown more. You can't believe how our life has changed in the last year. And then it struck me. I am willing to be shown more. I'm going to tell you 2 identical sentences here with slightly different wording. It is my will to be happy. By the power of my will, I will be happy. I am willing to be happy. Your words are carrying all that power. I'm willing to do this. We have been saying it over and over. Joe and I have been saying this, like I said, for a year with no awareness of what we're saying. We're willing for you to show us more. Well, they show us more. We're willing to do this better. Well, we do it better. We're willing to have this be more comfortable. It gets more comfortable. I'm willing to see record-setting temperatures in Toronto when I go visit in February, and I'll be goddamn. Willing is power. Willing is not, I'll sit here and let it happen. No. Willing is, I'm willing this. I am willing to receive this. I am using the power of my will to receive thus, whatever it is. My God, it opens up the whole freaking world. When I realized I have been in a state of shock myself, truthfully, probably for a good 18 months since this thing really kicked in. That's yeah, I guess so. Maybe only a year. I don't know. But when I began manifesting changes in my life that were rolling out in front of me almost in real time, I mean, like almost changing before my eyes, I started paying attention. And what I paid attention to in myself, what my driving force always is gratitude. Well, naturally, because that's just the way I am, I'm thankful about things. When my life started picking up speed and things started getting better, I started being more grateful. And I was like, man, this is fantastic. And our deal with the universe and with talking to my guides and the providers, I never want to say, I need this or I want this, because there's nothing. I lack nothing. I have everything in the world I want and need right here, right now, always. So that brings us to the subject of prayer. When you pray, what are you doing? Are you asking the universe, God, Allah, whatever it is you pray to, are you asking them to do something for you? Asking is not willing. Okay? I've thought carefully about this. This has been spinning in my head for a good 3 or 4 days before they let me present this. Asking for something is willing to keep asking. Okay? Asking for something is willing. I'm willing to keep wanting it. I'll keep asking. I would like it. I'm willing to do that. But are you willing to receive it? A lot of people tell me they want to find enlightenment. Since I was a young child, I have always said and heard and lived by, be very careful what you ask for, because you might get it. I don't know why I said that as a youngster, but I did. I always added that, because you might get it, part on the end. with no real awareness. I mean, I'm talking from the time I was 12, 13, that became my kind of life mantra. I'm careful what I ask for because I might get it. And trust me, by the age of 13, I had had a very bizarre upbringing. So I had very strange ideas about the world anyway. Uh, and I was terribly religiously brainwashed and terrified of this guy, God. He was just a big bully in my mind. So let's talk about this a second on an energetic level, the difference in prayer and will. One of the things that I find funny is that all these people on Facebook say, I'm sending you thoughts and prayers about whatever. I mean, 100 times a day I see, oh, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. Okay. Well, that's like saying eggs and eggs or me and me. Thoughts and prayers are equal. They're the same thing. You're thinking in your own thought space about another person. Truthfully having no effect at all. Now, if you are praying with a person and the two of you are speaking in some sort of a willful way, which I have seen this, I was a nurse for 30 years, so I've seen a lot of this at the bedside. Okay. I don't want to die today, so I'm going to pray and you're going to pray with me. And okay. No matter how adamant they get or how dressed up the religious personnel standing at the bedside is, in 30 years, I've not seen those thoughts and prayers change a person's destiny. Every single one of them left in a dead body, or they left a dead body behind and went on. I have, however, seen patients who come to me on hospice and said, one of the big things about hospice is, are you wanting quantity of life, no matter how miserable, or do you want quality with what you got left? Well, one of the things that means in hospice is that you're willing to die. And folks on hospice die a much more comfortable death than folks who are kicking and screaming. I've always said you can go sweet or you can go kicking and screaming, but you're going. Well, that's the death thing too. That's the way we all get out of here. There's not a different booth over here for. I've told you before, and I don't get into the Bible stuff, but there's 2 documented cases of ascension without the death of this thing. And they were interesting cases. This thing didn't die. It like disintegrated. It was beam me up, Scotty. Dematerialized. It just wasn't there anymore. Twice out of how many billions and billions of people? So that's not the way we go. We go that way. Sanskrit, fascinating information on that as well. I think that may be our next talk, the difference in life and death and what you actually lose at death. Hello, everybody. Lisa, David, Cerilius, Nelson, Shelley, Philip. I feel like y'all are all in my treehouse and I need to go put on more coffee. Teresa, hello. Bonnie. Guys, we have a big event at our house tonight if you're local to Salem, Oregon. We have Wine and Wisdom Wednesday going on here at Marinsky's Magic. There's no fee to come, and I'm cooking a big dinner. And we have a guest speaker coming in. Her name is Tricia Harley McCarthy. I like to say she makes metaphysics sexy. Besides being a romance writer, quite guided from the other side, she's also an Archangel channel. And she's going to come in tonight and share some of her gifts with her. And we're going to share some of our Marinsky's magic with her. So if you care to join us, it's going to be a beautiful event. They always are. The house is full, busting at the seams. People are meeting people, and this is where we tend to draw visitors from out of town. So we roll out the welcome wagon. Okay. All right, let's get back to our topic. Are you willing to be happy? Or are you willing to work at being happy? Or are you willing to think and pray about being happy? Or are you willing to fantasize about being happy? What is it you're putting your will power towards? Have you ever thought of it that way? I have. I wrote a book that is just 3 essays, and it's called Surviving Religion and Finding God, which was a big deal for me. Like I said, I thought he was just a big bully. I mean, he was completely ruined for me. He being the universal, thing of God. I don't have any ideas like that now. I work in a completely different realm and with pure energy, and this is God. This is what God looks like on a Wednesday morning drinking coffee. Okay, there's nothing else here to be God. So my worldview has changed a lot in 5 years' time. Speaking of changing a lot in 5 years, I went and got a new driver's license the other day. I don't know. It came in the mail a couple days ago. The picture on the one from about 6 years ago and the picture on the one today does not look like the same human being. The picture taken there, I was in the depths of physical and mental illness, that close to dead, strung out, drug addicted, dying of cancer, in a miserable marriage, having no idea that it was miserable because that's just what it was and that's just what it is, and having an actual serious vibrational mismatch going on there, just ripping both of us apart. And today, this is me. And that's less than 5 years' time with no doctors, no medicine, got off all medicine, no drugs, no more cigarettes. Just bliss and joy every day because that's what I'm willing to have. Okay. I want to help you to understand if you are thinking and praying about happiness, but that's as far as you can go. Well, I don't have it, but I'll think about it and pray about it all the time. You're willing to think about it and pray about it. You see, you're keeping it in thought space. The crown doesn't have any energy or power to put to this. It's just blah, 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 blah. Let's think about it. Third eye's getting involved. Ooh, well, now at least it's fun. Now it's a good fantasy. Now you've got a rich fantasy life. But it's all happening up here. Okay, do you see? Will is down here. Will is actually engaging your human self and the soul burning within you to get something done. I find it absolutely amazing when you look at those words. The spiritual fire within you. I can't think of a better definition of the soul string that runs down through the chakra structures. The spiritual fire within you. It means within this thing, within this particular coalescence, okay? The spiritual fire within you is the same as the spiritual fire out there. It's the complete entire universe, all connected. I cannot stress enough the importance of what this says about the power you have. But you have to be willing to engage it. You have to be willing to accept what you ask for. Otherwise, don't ask. Don't waste your time. One of the things in the book, Surviving Religion, it talks about prayer. And being a nurse for 30 years, working hands-on, one-to-one. I wasn't any office nurse. I mean, I had my hands in people every single day. You get to know humanity really well. Humanity prays a lot for relief from pain. Okay? Very seldom do I ever hear anyone pray that there's just no pain. They want relief from pain. things in this universe, it is so very important to understand the balance, the way this universe works in anything of the physical, anything of the non-physical, anything manifest that you can have awareness of. And I have to include a lot in that because I'm aware of a great many things that have nothing to do with physicality. And there, if I am, so can you be. Whether you are right this moment or not, you have that access. It's just there. It's like when you get the extra little bug in your video game and that unlocks a level, off you go. Well, I got that bug a while ago and off I went. For me, that bug was a really stinky reindeer. My first encounter with engaging of a being not of this world, my very first awareness of that encounter was the smell of a putrid, sweaty, hot animal. And about 5 seconds later, the most magnificent reindeer you have ever seen stepped into my view. Completely manifest in front of me. I could sink my hand into his fur. I could feel the sweat and the pulse. And I climbed on him and I could feel him between my legs. And I became aware that there's more existing in this world than what can be seen here. And that reindeer's still with me today, and he still stinks. He was my very first non-physical guide. It seems odd to call him a guide because mostly I ride him, and he has a dove on his antler, and he always has had. I have 3 sets of 2 power animals, each a mammal with a bird, indicative of living in both worlds at one time. Those are available to any female choosing to access them through a shaman's line. We're all from a shaman's line. So just if you have any questions about them, I wrote about them. They're called My Brother's Gifts. One of these days we'll do one of these about how to use and interact and live with and live through power animals. It's fascinating. Very different views on that around the world as far as whether you're looking at Tingerism or whether you're looking at the Native American relationship with them. So has that sunk in? Are any of you here willing to just be happy? It's done like this. You say, I am happy. And you be it. And you be willing to be it. And by the power of your will, you will live in it. It has nothing to do with God's will. It's your will. You are the particular coalescence under this crown chakra, receiving energy in this heart chakra, connected to the fire burning in the belly of that soul. If you want to be happy, be happy. If you want relief from pain, then you'll need to have pain. People who have pain that is difficult to track down in the medical community, folks that have, particularly one that I saw over 30 years' time that didn't get much better understanding is fibromyalgia. I understand that just now, recently, in the short time since I've exited the nursing career, they're beginning to connect it to some sort of nerve thing in the vessels, in the veins. You see, they always look for a physical cause. They always look for a physical cause, even when there's none to be found. I used to work with these people extensively. I was a psychiatric nurse, And so a lot of times people with fibromyalgia also have psychiatric issues like desperate depression, suicidality, anxiety, apathy. These are people that are sick. And yet the physical doctors that are supposed to be the experts on this thing, look at it and go, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Well, I beg to differ. I've sat with hundreds of people with fibromyalgia, and there is something wrong with them. They're miserable, and they're sick, and they're in pain, and it is extremely real. But it's not of a physical cause, so it's not going to have a physical cure. And the doctors don't even consider that. The cancer that I was dying with was not of a physical cause. I didn't get cancer from getting Roundup on my hands in a garden or in my wine and drinking it. And I didn't get it from having, I don't know, what is it they say? Hell, every food in the world has been accused of causing cancer, everyone. And then that's the superfood and great for you. They always look for a physical reason, okay? There was no physical reason for me to have cancer. We all have those particular types of cells, triggers in our body. It's activated by deep, negative, thick energy, dense energy, hatred, dripping down for years and years and years and years and years, to the point it made me desperately ill. Hatred dripping down all the way into the orange chakra. When you have fibromyalgia or let's see, chronic fatigue syndrome, also don't ever tell, as a nurse, don't ever tell me any of these people are not in pain, because I have sat with them. I've sat with them. They hurt. You can feel it. They're hurting. Their energy is hurting. The energy in their homes is hurting. It is so manifest in the real body, but it is not of a physical cause. The way to get away from that is to get those energies up and out of that body completely and get that body healed so that it's running on its own. I hardly know my body's here. Every now and then I get this serious nudge that says, hey, could you feed me? And I'm like, oh, when did I eat? Because it's just so automatic. I don't think about it. I feel from right here up. Right here, I feel the process of joy as it spins through me. And from here down, which you see would be my orange, yellow, and red chakras, it just runs on automation. And I'm healthier than I've ever been. And all that cancer and everything went away with no medical intervention whatsoever. None. I use medical marijuana. I don't know if you consider that medical. It is actually a plant. But yay, here it is. I'm here. But that beside that, no doctor gave me that. I've smoked pot my whole life, so that's just kind of a beside the point. That's why I'm saying I don't know if you'd consider that medical with me because I've always had it. So when the question becomes, what are you willing to have? Well, golly, that opens up a whole different world, doesn't it? Not what am I lacking? What do I need to pray for? What am I willing to have? Think of it. If you think of it as an imagination, but if you're actually, of course, you're going to have to use your thoughts and your crown to come up with something to be willing for if you want it to be other than thus. So my imagination said, I'm willing to be happy. And then I imagined happy, and I was that. Just like that. And my will just went, oh, this is what she's going to be. She's going to be happy. And that will is like lighting a candle flame to a line of gasoline. It's done. I'm happy. It's just like that. That's what the power of your will can do. And what did we say the will was? Your mind, your soul, the spark that ignites you. Did you put all that together? Let's do it the other way. The spark that ignites you, your soul string, and your mind. The first step in this ignition of this will is that change of thought. When you change the thought from I want to I am willing, you are then giving instructions to the universe rather than begging and praying and thinking and sending thoughts and Hallmark cards. You can't do this for other people. You don't say, I will that person get well from their nosebleed or whatever. No, it's not that. It's not your will to their will. There's no God's will. It's your will. Your will. You get to choose what you do. This nonsense of I'm sending thoughts and prayers to everything in the world going on around me, that is your crown chakra keeping you busy all day long looking at everybody except you. There's one person here, you. There's one will happening here, yours. What you going to choose to do with it? I know some people, I know some ladies, 3 ladies, dear friends of mine, every one. And here about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something, I forget the days now, 2 of them got together and said, you know, I'd be willing to go to Wounded Knee and see what it feels like. And I'll be damned. A week later, middle of winter, 3 women alone got in a car and drove to Wounded Knee and had life-altering, soul-opening experiences. I'm willing to do that. One of them said to the other, I'm willing to do that. What she said to the universe is, by the power of my will, this will happen. Do you see how much different that feels than I'm willing? Oh, I'm willing is a powerful word. If you have not had a chance to go look at Bonnie's or Carmen's pictures, B doesn't use Facebook, but Bonnie and Carmen have posted some of the most amazing pictures. Go check them out. And I think y'all have all shared them on my Chakra Talk page. They had a beautiful journey. And because they're all home safe now, and I know Bonnie's right here listening, I'm going to share a secret with you. While they were gone, hi, Flower Man. How are you? You've never been here. Ha! You were just saying on the thing this morning, excuse me a moment, Robert, you were just saying on the thing this morning that you were bored and needed to get out and be around people. Well, there's an event here at 6 o'clock and I'm cooking dinner. You can come be around me and a lot of people. Yay. Okay. What the hell were we talking about? Okay. Anyway, so go to look at their pictures of South Dakota. Anyway, I'm going to tell you about this Bonnie. Bonnie's right here. She's listening. I'm not telling anything behind her back. She says to me one day, she says, I don't know what in the fuck I'm doing out here in the middle of winter. I'm scared to death. It's a blizzard. The roads are terrible. I have nobody here to trust except myself. Next morning, they got up, clear roads the rest of the way, and all the way home. I sat here in Oregon in my warm house, and I laughed at the very miracle of watching it happen. I've got nobody to trust but myself. Bam! Done. Trusted herself. She was willing to trust herself. By her very will, Claire traveled the rest of their trip. sometimes we do these things and we don't even know what we're doing. Huh? Okay. What else can we talk about that has to do with your will that you may not be quite aware of? Well, one of the things that I think is quite funny, because I've been doing this, um, there's a very good chance that we're going to be moving somewhere. We don't know where. We don't know if we're talking to change location. We know it won't be another house in town. We've always had this idea in the back of our head that there's going to be some sort of a retreat center involved in this. And when we have ideas in the back of our head, usually that's the big self out there saying, get ready. So a lot of things are coming our way to look at that are like odd properties with lots of rooms and things like that. Anyway, we're not quite sure how or where that's going to happen. But up until about, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, I've been sitting around the house and I've been saying, well, I'm willing to wait. God damn. So we waited and waited and waited. Now I've said, I'm willing, let's go. I'm willing to move into the retreat and get started. Let's go. And they're just, I'm getting them popped into my email from Zillow every day. Bizarro property number 14. Used to be a school and 3 cow stalls, stuff like that. So we're not sure where that's going to manifest, but we're willing to have it happen, and it's happening. We'll let you know when the address changes. Okay. Well, I think I covered it. I've got to go get ready for lots of visitors tonight. I got to go cook and, make vegetables and all that good stuff. Huh. How many of you guys engage in the process of praying? Has anybody ever looked at that with you energetically? That'd kind of be a nice add-on to this, but right now I need to go chop vegetables. Maybe next time? I hope to see most of you in my living room tonight. You're all welcome. Okay, everybody have a great day.